record the session. So last time we discussed about the basics of object-oriented programming, and also like we got the introduction to what's the programming language, since this was your first module that you are following related to object-oriented programming. I mean, the like just programming. So this is the first module that you are following under programming. So I gave you the introduction. What is a programming language and what's a code, and how what are the applications of the programming languages, and what we can do using a programming language, and what's a program. So we discussed lots of things under last week's topic, right? The introduction, and also then we started the part, the C++ programming, the basic structure and the syntax of C++. So we got to know what's C++ and how to write a simple program using C++, right? So that's what we did on last time. And today what I'm going to do, like I'm going to like take you further towards C++, and we will do some advanced topics today. And some codes as well, right? Okay, so we covered last time, as I mentioned earlier, we covered about the we covered the introduction part, and like what's a mid-level, low-level, and high-level programming languages, and what are the differences, and what are the other programming languages available. So those things we covered under the introduction last time, and we discussed about the applications of C++, where C++ is used. So we discussed lots of things under these things, and then this is something related to OOP, object-oriented programming. Now don't worry about OOP, since we will be covering the object-oriented programming concept. So that means in the programming language we have another, not in all the programming languages, but some of the programming languages we have I mean concept called OOP. So like if you know about Java, Java is a OOP language. If you know like Python, Python is a OOP language. But C is not a OOP language. C++ is a OOP language. So that there's a concept called OOP, and that will be discussed later in this course, right? Not immediately. So we will go through the basic things on this. I mean, the C++ and in C++ we cover the basic stuff, right? So we will take like 3 or 4 weeks, most probably 3 or 4 weeks we will take for this basics stuffs under the procedural part of the C++ programming language, and later we can move to something called object-oriented programming in C++. So don't worry about what's this OOP, the object-oriented programming. So let us first cover the basic stuffs, right, of C++. Then later we can move on to the what you call the object-oriented programming concepts, right? So don't worry about the OOP concepts, objects and classes. So those will be discussed under object-oriented in coming weeks, not immediately, right? So we will first, go through the basic stuffs and try to implement these things. Then later we can implement the things, right? Yeah, so as I mentioned last time, we have lots of things we discuss under this, and you know that like I discussed these things on last time as well, like these are the header files, right? You can remember, hope you can remember. And this is the function declaration and global variables, and this is structure definition, right? And this is the main function, right? So this is the main function of a code, and this is the function definition, right? And these are the main, this is the main function, right? And this is like decision making, right? And this is like a loop. So we discussed last thing. So hope you you received the video and video lecture and also the materials, right? Is it?
We received.
Okay.
Yes, we received.
Okay. Thank you. So so hope you had a look again, and now try to like go through them again, right? Okay. So then the other thing is, like, there's something called the terminator, state terminator. So in C++, all the statements should be ended with a semicolon, right? So every line or every statement should be ended with a semicolon, right? So you can see now almost like all the lines here, right? So that means this is a statement. All the statements should be, now these are the statements, like we have to include the semicolon at the end of that line, right? Statement. And also we have blocks. So blocks are declared using curly brackets. So this is the main functions block. The main function block. You can see like the starting curly bracket and the ending curly bracket here, starting curly bracket and the ending curly bracket here. And also now this is decision making, or the if condition. I will talk about these things later. Now this is the if condition, and in the if condition also you have a starting curly bracket and a ending curly bracket. And this is a loop, a while loop, and the while loop also you have the starting curly bracket and the ending curly bracket. So these are called blocks. So you can find lots of blocks here. So block is basically a set of logically connected statements, right? A set of logically connected statements, and it will be like identified. You can identify that by this curly bracket. So starting and like you have the closing curly braces, right? So that's how we are going to identify a block, right? So we will discuss about these things in detail, right? Okay, so then right, so if you move further, like the identifier. So what we discussed about identifiers. Now identifier is basically a name, a customized name given by the user. User දෙන මොකක් හරි නමකට අපි කියනවා identifier එකක් කියලා. දැන් මෙතන මේ තියෙන දැන් මේ int කියන එක, struct කියන එක, void කියන එක, using namespace, return, while, if, these are not identifiers, they are called keywords. So what's the difference between a keyword and this? Now here, what you mean by a keyword is that that's something standard in the programming language. Programming language එකේදී standard වචන වලට අපි කියනවා keywords කියලා, right? The if condition, true, cout, float, return, void, int ඔය තියෙන ඒවට අපි කියනවා keywords කියලා. ඒවා programming language එකේ තියෙන words. ඒවට අපි කියනවා keywords කියලා. Then the identifiers, what do you mean by identifier? Basically identifies as I mentioned earlier, a customized name or a user-defined name, right? So these identifiers, we can give like identifiers. We are going to use identifiers to name or identify a variable, function, class, module. මේ වගේ දේවල් වලට තමයි අපි user-defined names දාන්නේ. Variable, functions, classes, and modules basically. So we discussed about variables last time. So variable, like we can give our own customized name for a variable as well, right? Our own customized name, right? And later we will talk about functions, and later we will talk about classes, and later we will talk about modules. So in that case also, like we can give our own names, that means user-defined names, so they are called identifiers. So we will see this in future implementations, right? Okay, then yeah, so we discussed about those things, and these are the keywords. I mentioned that keywords are there. That means a keyword is basically a reserved words in the programming language, right? Reserved word in a programming language. So those are called keywords, right? So there are lots of keywords available, and I discussed about few as well. And data types we discussed, right? And right, so variables. And so let us quickly go to a code and cover the remaining sections, right? I will get a new code, and I hope that you have configured this environment right. I hope that you have configured this developer environment, the C++, right? I hope this is with you, right? I mean, this uh, development environment is with you. Okay, so I told you that don't worry about these lines. I will discuss about these things in advanced topics, right? So they are in every code that we are going to write. C++ use කරලා run කරන ගොඩක් codes වල ගොඩක් නෙමෙයි almost all the codes මේ ටික තියෙනවා. Right? Right? මේ ටික තියෙනවා අනිවාර්යෙන් ඒක හින්දා අපි ඒක ගැන එච්චර consider කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. මේ line එක මේ lines දෙක හැම එකේම දානවා. අපි පස්සේ බලමු මොකද්ද මේකෙන් වෙන්නේ කියලා. මම පස්සේ ටිකක් advanced topic එකක් යටතේ මේ ගැන කතා කරනවා. Right? ඊට පස්සේ then what we can do, so this is the main function, right? So this is the main function, and you can see that I mean, so here you can find the main function. Now මේක තමයි basic syntax එක කියන්නේ ඒක තමයි දාන්න පුළුවන් හැමදේම දාලා ලියපු කෝඩ් එකක් තමයි මේ තියෙන්නේ. right? මේ තියෙන හැම එකම දාලා ලියන්න පුළුවන් කෝඩ් එකක් තමයි මේ දීලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන් මේ විදිහට හැම කෝඩ් එකම නැහැ. මම කියන්නේ full කෝඩ් එකක් කොහොමද එන්නේ කියලා තමයි මෙතන එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරලා තියෙන්නේ. අපි හැමදේම ඉන්ක්ලූඩ් කරන්න ඕනේ. අපි කෝඩ් එකක් ලියද්දී අපිට ඕන දේ විතරක් තිබ්බනම් ඇති. But thing is, but in all the programs you have to have a main function. So this is called the main function. So you can see that here as well, right? The main function. You can see it here as well, the main function, right? So this is what you call the main function, right? So this is what you call the main function, right? So this is there in this should be there in all the programs, all the codes. අපි හදන හැම code එකම මේ main function එක තියෙන්න ඕනේ. main function එක ඇතුලේ තමයි අපිට ඕන දේවල් අපි ඔක්කොම include කරන්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් මෙන්න මේ main කියන block එක ඇතුලේ main function කියන block එක ඇතුලේ තමයි අපි මේ හැම දෙයක්ම include කරන්නේ. මෙන්න මේ curly brackets දෙක ඇතුලේ තමයි අපිට ඕන දේවල් අපි හැම code එකම type කරන්නේ. Right? So we are going to include everything in our code, right? All the statements, we will include that in the main function, inside the main function, right? Okay, so then like here also we have the main function declared here, right? So we have the main function declared. So I will discuss about what is this thing that is main, that what is this parentheses does. We will discuss about these things in coming topics, right? මේ ඔක්කොම අපි ඔක්කොම topics ටික කතා කරලා code එකකට අපිට යන්න බෑ. තේරෙනවද මම කියන එක කියන්නේ? අපිට I mean, we can't discuss everything, all the theories, then thereafter we can't start write codes. ඔක්කොම theory ටික කතා කරලා ඉවරලා අපිට code ඒ කියන්නේ මේ IO stream කියන්නේ මොකද්ද, මේ name space කියලා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද, මේ main function එක කියන්නේ මොකද්ද, functions කියන්නේ මොනවද, මේ හැම දෙයක්ම theory වශයෙන් කතා කරලා අපිට code එකක් ලියන්න පටන් ගන්න බෑ. එහෙම කරන්න බෑ. එහෙම effective නෑ. right? අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? අපි theory ඉගෙන ගන්න ගමන් අපි codes වලට යන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේක efficient නෑ. right? අපි කරන්න ඕනේ පුළුවන් තරම් අපි codes implement කරන්න ඕනේ. මොකද ඔයාලට exams වලට නැත්නම් assignments වලටත් එන්නේ codesම තමයි. right? ඒකින්ද අපි codes implement කරන්න ඕනේ. ඉතින් codes implement කරන්න නම් what you have to have like I mean we can't cover all the theories and then we can't move on to the coding. So we had like do it parallelly. So in that case, what we have, like you have something that you don't know, right? So you are not aware about. එතකොට එහෙම කරන්න යද්දී codes අපිට parallel කරගෙන යනකොට ඔයා නැතිව තියෙනවා. So don't worry, like we will cover these things in detail later, but for now we are going to implement codes parallelly and move forward in this module. Okay, right? So what I can do, like I did this last time as well. So I'm going to create variable, right? So variable one. Now this is you call the identifier, right? This is a custom name we have given to a variable. So this is called identifier. And what we can do, like we are going like this is where we are going to declare a variable, right? A variable. And here you can give any customized name. Right? And also like I can create another variable, right? Variable 2, right? I can create another variable too. So here we have two integer type variables. So what mean by integer type variable? Yes, can anyone remember what's the integer type variable? Yes. Anyone? Yes, what's the integer type variable? Yes.
Number.
Yes, we are going to save numbers. Which kind of numbers? To be exact. Integers, right? That means like මොනවද අපි කියන්නේ පූර්ණ සංඛ්‍යා, right? පූර්ණ සංඛ්‍යා save කරගන්න තමයි අපිට තියෙන්නේ මොනවද? මෙන්න මේ integer type variable අපි හදන්නේ පූර්ණ සංඛ්‍යා save කරගන්න, right? ඒ කියන්නේ උදාහරණයක් විදිහට දැන් අපි මෙහෙම කළාම මොකද්ද මම කිව්වේ? Last time I discussed these things, right? I showed you these things. So what's going to happen now? You have your RAM, right? In your RAM also, like right? So your RAM also we have right? I mean we have right? So this is your RAM, let's say. So what's going to happen when you are going to declare an integer? Make up your RAM. Now you have the RAM like 12 GB, right? 8 GB, 4 GB. You have lots of, I mean, different types of RAM. So that means like RAM is a memory, right? It's called random access memory, right? So in random access memory, what you have is basically like memory locations, right? So that means, so if your memory, let's say 4 GB, that means in your RAM there are like 4 GB memory, right? So if we take like this is a 1 byte, right? If you take this as a 1 byte, right? So let's say 1 byte. This is, let's say, 1 byte. So what do you mean by 1 byte? Now, like we have several bytes here. So in your RAM, like we have unallocated memory, right? So I show you this last time as well. Unallocated memory. That means, let's say, let me show you the task manager of my computer. Now here, like it say, my memory is like 68% of my memory is used, right? So you can go to the thing. So I have a 4 GB memory in my computer, right? So out of my 4 GB, like 2.7 GBs are used, right? So I have like 30% free, right? I have like 1.2 GB free. Mangawa GB දැන් මගේ RAM එකෙන් දැනට 1.2 GB free තියෙනවා. 2.7ක් use කරලා තියෙනවා. Right? So like these are the details. Now my RAM, like Zoom meeting, Zoom application is using 250 megabytes, right? And the Google Chrome like 61 megabytes and Acrobat Reader 100 megabytes, right? So likewise, I have like I mean lot of memory being used by the RAM, right? Up there මේ file එක open කරාම RAM එකේ තමයි ඔය මේවට අදාළ memory එක save වෙන්නේ. දැන් මේ applications Google Chrome එහෙම use කරන memory එක save වෙන්නේ RAM එකේ, right? ඒතකොට ඒක මොකද වෙන්නේ? close කළාම මොකද වෙන්නේ? Now if I like close this, the Google Chrome, now that's freed, right? තේරෙනවද? ඒ ටික අයින් වෙලා යනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ RAM එක දැන් ඒක free වෙනවා. තේරෙනවද? RAM එක free වුණා දැන්. ඒක close කරපු හින්දා RAM එක free වුණා, right? So that's what happened. Now here, now you have the unallocated memory. That means like you have here 1.5 GB free, right? 1.5 GB is free now. So what will happen? Out of that free memory, this is going to select 4 bytes. Integer takes 4 bytes, right? Integer එකක් byte 4ක් ගන්න. Can you remember? Right? So if you have had a look on this slide, probably you will understand. Probably you can remember this, right? I mean, so here like integer, so you can see 4 bytes, right? So integer, one integer variable takes 4 bytes. That's what it says, right? One integer variable takes 4 bytes. Now, if you go back here, right? If you go back here, now what's going to happen when you are going to create integer? Then from your RAM, what's going to happen? Like 4 bytes. So let's say this is a 1 byte. So 4 byte will be reserved like this. 4 byte is reserved for variable 1. Now the name here is variable 1 now. So this is reserved for variable 1. Now a memory location is reserved for variable 1. To be exact, 4 bytes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So similarly, from somewhere else, from the pre-memory, unallocated memory, from your unallocated memory, another 4 bytes will be reserved for another variable. I mean the var2. Right, let's say this is var2. Right, let's say this is var2. Understood? So that kind of thing is there, right? So that's what happened. I mean, from unallocated memory, freely තියෙන memory එකෙන් මෙයාගේ කරනවා, right? So then what's going to happen? Like we can assign values to these things. මේ variable අපිට values assign කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? So now what happens? Like this will be, I mean, in the variable var1, now 10 will be saved in these 4 bytes, right? In these 4 bytes, 10 will be saved. So similarly, we can assign another value like this as well. Now make sure that this is integer. That means you can like only save integer values. පූර්ණ සංඛ්‍යා විතරයි මේ වගේ save කරන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද ඒක integer හින්දා. Right? So similarly here also we can, I mean, this will be saved as this. Now I explained you last time how these values are saved, right? මම අර bit 32ක් ඇඳලා ඒ bit 32 මේක save වෙන විදිහ last time explain කළා නේද? Did I? Did I explain that? I mean, how this value is saved in 32 bits? Yes? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Yes, so that's how it's saved,
The
right?
binary code.
Yeah, the binary level. Yes, exactly. So that's how it's been saved, right? So now this is a variable, and or else you can do like, I mean, you can do it like this as well, or else you can do it at the declaration also, you can save it like that. I mean, like this, right? So you can do it like this as well. At the declaration also, you can assign the value. Declare කරද්දිම value එක දාන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් වෙනම value එක දාන්නත් පුළුවන්. And I hope I can remember that I explained this is a comment, or this comment has no effect to the code. So it's like a comment, right? And you can do it as that as well, right? So then let us print the let us print the value of the variable 1, and after that let me include the new line, and here also let me print the second value, variable 2, and let me print a ender, right, a new line. So what's going to happen, so let me run this one like right, so you can see the values are printed here, right? So the values are printed here. Now I mean the thing is that these are variables. That means like anywhere I mean you can change these values, right? So you can change these values in the sense like these are variables, as I mentioned. Now somewhere else you can save these, so I mean change these values to some other variables, right? So now if we like print it, right? So now these are the true prints here. Right? මේ දෙක තමයි මේ print කරලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? I mean, like these two prints, right? And this print is like 200. That means what? Right? So the value is changed, right? So we can like declare variables and we can change those values when we want, right? We can declare variables and we can change those values when it's required, right? So that's why it's called a variable, right? So that's what is called a variable. Understood? Now, anywhere you want, you can change those variable values, right? You can change those values. And the other thing is that now let me go to a new code and let me like take the necessary things. Otherwise, I have to type this again. So I copied the code from right and okay. So this is the next code, and here like now I want to show you another thing. Now, what will happen here? Will this work? Make a වැඩ. What do you think? Yes, anyone? Will this work? What do you think? Anyone? Now, integers are like integer variables. So we have two variables in the integer type. So we can only save integers, right? So what's going to happen? Can anyone like guess what's going to happen? Huh? Right. So now you can see like it's not going to take that I mean the decimal part, right? Then දශම part එක ගන්නෙ නෑ යා. දැන් එහෙම කියලා ඔයා හිතන්න එපා හරි එහෙනම් මෙයා මේක round off කරනවා කියලා. No round off is done here. Now if you are going to round off this, like 10.2 is should be 10 and 20.6 should be 21, right? So no, it's not like that. Round off කරන්නේ නෑ. ඔයා හිතන්න එපා හරි මෙහෙම value එකක් දැම්මොත් එහෙම round off කරලා ගන්නව ඇති නෑ. Round off කිරීමක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද round off කිරීමක් වෙනවා නම් මෙතන ඔය 20.6 කියන එක 21 වෙන්න ඕන, right? So it should be like 21. But here not like that. So that means here like it's going to like totally neglect the decimal part, right? Totally it's going to neglect the decimal part. So that's what happens, right? The decimal part is totally neglected. No matter what's the value, it's neglected. No round off is done here, right? So keep that thing in your mind as well, right? So let me go to like some other, right? Now this is a separated code, right? Right, so two variables of float type, right? So you can see the float type variables are, I mean, here it's given float. Yes, it's also 4 bytes, and like it can save uh, uh, like decimal values and up to 7 digits. Digits 7ක decimal value එකක් save කරගන්න පුළුවන් float එකකට, right? So I mean now if we print these two quickly, right? So you can see now it's not going to be a matter, right? So it's like it can save the decimal part as well. So float values are capable of saving, I mean, any kind of a value, no matter it's a integer. Now, What's going to happen here now? Can it save a value like this? Make a save කරගන්න පුළුවන් වේද? Yes, anyone? Quickly. Yes, so what do you think? Yes, anyone? Quickly. Yes. Now I mean, can you guess what's going to happen? No need to be exact answer, but can you guess? Yes, anyone? So are you there here? Can you hear me? Yes. I mean, just guess what's going to happen. Anyone? Yes. No one. Now, this also works, right? Now, I mean, no matter what, like float values can also save integers as well. Float value වලට integer float variables වලට integer values save කරගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි දැන් integer values වලට floats දාන්න බෑ, right? So keep that thing in your mind. මේකට දාන්න බෑ. හැබැයි integer වලට මේ floats වලට දාන්න පුළුවන්, right? That thing, right? And also like we have some other data type similar to float is called double, right? Double. And the thing is, you will see this double here. What's the difference between right? So it can save double can save right a value of 15 digits. digits 15ක් save කරගන්න පුළුවන්. කියන්නේ දශම සංඛ්‍යා එතකොට දශම සංඛ්‍යා 15ක් පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔක්කොම digits 15ක number එකක් save කරගන්න පුළුවන් double වලට. හැබැයි float වලට පුළුවන් digit 7ක සංඛ්‍යාවක් save කරගන්න විතරයි. Right? Understood? So similar, double and float are similar. So for example, let us do it like this. Let me do it like this. Okay, so I will now how many digits are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right? So if you run this, right? So can you see now it can't like save that much of a value, right? Okay, now. එයාට ඔක්කොම වගේ digits 5යි save කරගන්න. Sorry, 6යි. Right? Only a decimal, I mean, only a value like with only 6 digits. එතකොට එයා මේ value 6 digits 6ක් විතරයි save කරගන්න පුළුවන් එයාට, right? But if you make it, let's say I'm going to make it a double. Let me make this one a double type variable. So let me add some dummy values here, right? Yeah, it's also like only say one, but yeah, it only shows මෙතන පෙන්නන්නේ ඔක්කොම values 6යි, but it can I mean save it, right? මේකට double එකට මේක save කරගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි මෙතන මේ cout එකේ පෙන්නන්නේ 6ක් විතරයි. මම මේක ගන්න හැටි පෙන්නන්න මේක කියන්නේ මෙයාට පුළුවන් like a double variable can save 50 digits, right? So 50 digits can be saved, 15, sorry, 15, right? Bits, digits 15ක් යට save කරගන්න පුළුවන් එකක. ඒක හැබැයි පෙන්නන්නේ 6ක් විදිහට මම ඒක ගන්න හැටි වාර කියලා දෙන්නම්. Double, sorry, මේ float type variables ගැන කතා කරනකොට, right? Okay, so float and double both can be used to like save decimal values, right? So I will ask you a question now. Like integer value variable, right? So as I mentioned, the integer value variables are capable of I mean integer value variable, if you take integer value variable, integer variable, so let's say var. Now there are 4 bytes, right? So you know 4 bytes, so I have drawn it here also. So my question, what will be the maximum value that the integer type variable can hold? Integer type variable එකට දාන්න පුළුවන් maximum value එක මොකක්ද කියලා කාට හරි කියන්න පුළුවන්? I mean, think a bit and say, පොඩ්ඩක් හිතන්න බලන්න. Yes, anyone? Yes. මම අහන්නේ integer type variable එකට මොකක් හරි කමක් නැහැ. Integer type variable එක. Integer type variable එකට දාන්න පුළුවන් maximum value එකක් මොකද්ද? What's the maximum value an integer variable can hold? Yes, anyone? Quickly. Yes. I mean, just try to give a hint. I mean, a guess. Yes, someone, please. පොඩ්ඩක් හිතලා බලන්න. මම අහන්නේ integer variable එකකට save කරගන්න, hold කරගන්න පුළුවන් වැඩිම value එක මොකද්ද? ලොකුම value එක මොකද්ද? මම පොඩි hint එකක් දෙන්නම්. Integer size එක වෙන්නේ, integer type variable එක size එක වෙන්නේ 4 bytes. Yes.
Hexadecimal, sir.
No, not a hexadecimal. It's like this now. 4 bytes is what? Right? You know, 4 byte is right 32 bits, right? 32 bits. Bits 32ක් තමයි 4 bytes කියන්නේ. Right? Right? එතකොට මේකට maximum දාන්න පුළුවන් value එක කොහොමද ගන්නේ? මේ හැම එකකටම දාන්න byte එකට දාන්න පුළුවන්. I mean, what are the values that we can save in a byte? Yes, byte. What's the maximum value that we can, sorry, bit. Yes, in a bit it's like 0 and 1. So if you put like C1 to all the 32 bits, right? All the 32 bits, right? අපි මේ හැම එකටම 1 දාගෙන ගියොත් bit 32කටම 1 දාගෙන ගියොත් ඔන්න හදනවා maximum value එක. So what's it? Right? So you can do the math and see, right? You can do the math and see. So it will be probably like 2 into the power 2 to the power 2 to the power 32 minus 1. Right? 2 to the power 32 minus 1. Right? 2 to the power 32 minus 1. ගාන හදලා බලන්න. Right? So that's how, I mean, that's something I mean not related to here, but I just want to mention it, right? Okay. So then we have two other types as well. So let me talk about those two. Char, right? Char, uh, char variable one. So char variables can hold characters, right? Char variables can hold characters. So usually char variable is, right? Char variable එක hold කරගන්න පුළුවන් character එකක්. Any kind of a character. Now right, so char variables can hold characters. But thing now it will be uh, not will be saved as a character, right? So char, if you take the char variable type, it's 1 byte, you can see here, right? 1 byte, right? So char variable is in 1 byte, right? So you can see it is a 1 byte variable, right? A 1 byte variable. So that means like 8 bits are there, 8 bits, right? 8 bits. The thing is now these characters are saved as numbers. මේ characters ඇත්තම number එකක් විදිහට තමයි save කරන්නේ, right? මේ characters අතර number එකක් විදිහට තමයි save කරන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ like I will show that. You know, this is a, I mean, you know, you can see that this is a it's going to print a it like a character, but here actually a number is there. So if we take I think you can check the number like this probably. Yes, 88. ඇත්තටම මේ x කියා තමයි save වෙන්නේ, right? I will show you that. Yes, so I mean it's saved as x, but actually it's a number 88. ඇත්තටම මේක අපි integer එකක් විදිහට බැලුවොත් එහෙම ඒක ඇතුලේ තියෙන number එකක්. 88 කියන number එක තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Right? 88 කියන number එකක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඔය x කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම 88 වලට. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක character එකක් විදිහට තමයි save වෙන්නේ, but actually there is a number, right? So that number we can check it. There is a table called ASCII table, right? ASCII table. Yes, so can you see? So there are several numbers given to, right? So 88, let's say. Yes, you can see 88 is x. Let me get a good table. right? So you can see, right? Right, so 88 is X, so 87 is W, 86 is V. Now these are like uppercase letters, so also you have lowercase letters as well. Lowercase letters at the end, like X and X simple X, right? Likewise, it will be saved as a number, right? So it will be saved as a number in this 8-bit, right? So characters, they are simply can be a name, sorry, not a name, a letter, symbol, or uh, a number. Letters, symbols, numbers, and also letters, symbols, and numbers. And other than that, like we have some special type of characters as well. With our special characters, but similarly, we are focusing on only like these characters, symbols, numbers, and letters, right? So now what's going to happen actually? Now this is 8-bit, right? So that means 8-bit. So variable is 8-bit. So if you take like this, so we have 8-bit, right? So how this 88 is saved now? I mean, how this X is saved here, right? කොහොමද X කියන එක save වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? දැන් ඔයා දන්නවා මේක sorry. Now you know that this is 2 to the power 0, right? 2 to the power 1, right? ඒ කියන්නේ 2, ඒ මෙතන ඉන්නේ 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, sorry, 64, and 1 to 8, right? So actually how this X is saved here? The X කියන එක කොහොමද save වෙන්නේ? X 88 නේ අපි දැක්කනේ. එහෙනම් කොහොමද? 64 එකට 1 එනවා. 64යි 32යි කීයද? 96යි. 64යි 16යි කියන්නේ 64යි 16යි කියන්නේ 80යි නේද? ඔව්. එහෙනම් මේක වෙන 80යි ඊළඟට 88යි. Right? Understood. So now the X is saved actually as this. Right? 64 එකයි 16යි එතකොට එකතු ආවහම එනවා 80ක් මෙතන 8යි 88යි. Right? ඔය X කියන එක ඇත්තටම save වෙන්නේ මේ විදිහට. මොකද char එකක් කියන්නේ 8-bit. Right? So char is 8-bit. Right? So it will be saved as a number. Characters are saved as number. Understood? Right? So now these are important points. Okay, so then like the final variable type, I will discuss this. The final variable type, char, then the strings, right? Strings. So string, I didn't discuss about this last time. String, right? So a string variable, right? A string variable one. So in a string, you can save, right? So you can save a string. That means a string in the sense like it can be a sentence, it can be a word, it can be a paragraph, anything, right? Understood? Right? So you can see like these are two variables, right? So string. So string is a letter, sorry, not a letter, word, sentence, or a paragraph. It could be a word, sentence, or a paragraph. So in that case, you are referring them as strings. So string variables can be used to save words, sentences, or paragraphs, right? Strings. Understood. Now, can someone tell me what's going to happen here? I mean, just guess. Yes. Now, addition. We are going to add variable 1 and variable 2. So what's going to happen? What will happen here? What the expected output here? Can someone predict or can someone guess? Yes, quickly. Two strings sentences they are add करना නැත්නම් words they are sentences they are add करना variable 1 එකයි variable 2 add කරනවා. Yes. What will be the output quickly? Yes, anyone? Now this is a straightforward thing. Yes. Anyone? We are going to add hello world and hello C. Yes, anyone quickly? Now this is something straightforward. මොකද්ද මේ එකතු වෙලා එන්නේ මොකද්ද print එන්නේ?
It will be joined together as a sentence.
Yes, good, right? So it will be like this now. Now we know how to add the integer, right? We know how to add floats. ඉලක්කම් add කරන්න අපි දන්නවා, right? මේ තමයි strings දෙයක් add වෙලා තියෙන. ඒ කියන්නේ වචන දෙයක් එකතු වෙලා එක වචනයක් හැදලා තියෙනවා. Right? So two like sentences are added together. So this is how you are going to see it, right? So this is how we are going to see it actually. Right? Hope you understood, right? Okay. So strings. Now these are the main types that we are going to use: integers, float, or double, right? Depending on your size of the variable, right? So float or double. Then you can use char for characters, and you are going to use strings for strings to save this kind of words, paragraphs, or sentences, right? හරිනේ. දැන් ඔයා දන්නවා එහෙනම් right? දැන් ඔයා දන්නවා එහෙනම් මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ කියලා, right? So these are the main data types that we are focusing and we are using in our course, right? අපේ course එකේ අපි use කරන main data types ටික තමයි variables, මේ type ටික තමයි තියෙන්නේ, strings, float or double, or then char, or integers. So those are the things we are focusing on. Understood? Okay, so then the other thing is that yeah, so that's it. And I want to highlight another point. So let me take an new file, right? So I'm going to talk about operators, right? Operators. So let me take a new code, 2.0 operators, right? 2.0 operators. Okay, so it's like this. I mean, yeah. So let me declare two types of variables, int value 1, value 2, okay, right? So I have declared 3 integer type variables. Integer type variables තුනක් මගේ code එකේ මම declare කරලා තියෙනවා, right? So 3 integer type variables are declared here, right? So then what I'm going to do now, values are assigned here, right? So you know the values are assigned here, as you can see the values are assigned. So for example, I can draw it like this. So we have 3 variables, right? So 3 variables are there, like so you know that value 1, value 2, and this is the value 3, let's say. Now here we have saved values, right? We have saved value here 10, and here it's 20, right? But we haven't assigned an value to value 3 නේද? value 3 එකට අපි value එකක් දැන්ට assign කරලා නැහැ. We haven't assigned an value yet to value 3, right? අපි තාම value 3 එකට value එකක් assign කරලා නැහැ. So then what I can do, I can do something like this. Value 3 equals value 1 plus value 2, for example, let's say, right? So there's an important point to be identified. Now we have two sides here, right? So we have two sides. So this is the right side, right? The right side, and this is the left side. The left side and the right side. So what's going to happen here, usually, not usually, but all the times, right? So always the right side will be assigned to the left side. So that's what happened in programming language, all the programming languages. Always the right side will be first. I mean, whatever things that you are going to give in right side will perform. I mean, it will be performed, and then that value will be assigned to the left side variable, right? So that's what always happens. Now, left and right side, whatever things that we have in the right side will be executed. I mean, not executed, but if there is some kind of operation, it will be performed, and that value will be assigned to the left side, right? So that will be assigned to the left side. So that's what going to happen. Now, that's what I also have mentioned here as well, right? Not here. So R value, so R value refers to the memory location, left value a data value that's stored at the same address in memory. Now, the thing here, anyway, now these two will be like whatever the operations that we are going to perform will be done here, and that value will be assigned to this one. For now, what's going to happen here, this will be basically like 10 plus 20, that means this will be 30. දැන් මේක අඳුරගන්න තියෙන හොඳ මෙතඩ් එක තමයි මේක හැම වෙලේම, right? left side එකේ වෙන දේ වෙනවා. left side එකේ මොකක් හරි operation එකක් එකතු කරන්න බෙද ගන්න මොකක් හරි තිබ්බට කමක් නැහැ. sorry, left side නෙමෙයි right side. right side එකේ තියෙන මොකක් හරි කමක් නැහැ. මොකක් හරි operation එකක් කරන්න කියලා ඒක කරලා ඒ value එක තමයි අපි හැම වෙලේම left side එකට assign කරන්නේ, right? So keep that thing in mind. So then probably what we can do, we can print these values and see, right? So we can print these values and see, I mean the right? So simple, right? Obvious thing happened. Now value 3 becomes 30, right? And so this is called the addition operator. So you know it's a straightforward thing, the addition operator, right? And we have lots of other operators as well, right? So the first few, I hope that you are familiar, the first few that we are going to discuss. You are familiar that the subtraction operator, you know, right? The subtraction operator, right? So minus 10, since 10 minus 20 is minus 10. So subtraction. So I'm going to comment that, and here let me do the multiplication operator, multiplication, right? So I mean, we are not going to use like multiplication done by this star, right? So multiplication, yes, the multiplication. So these are something that you know, right? Okay. So let me like change these values to like 5 and 2. Okay. Now this is what? Can someone tell me what's going to happen here? Yes. So what will be value 3? Yes, quickly. Yes. What will be value 3? Anyone? Yes.
2.
It will be 2. Why 2? It should be like 2.5.
It's integer type of variable.
Yes,
Integer.
good. Yes, exactly. Now, actually it is 2.5, but since value 3 is an integer, right? Value 3 is an integer, 2.5 save කරගන්න බෑ. එයා save කරන්නේ 2 විතරයි, right? So these are very important points, right? Right. Okay, now my question. Okay, now what will happen if I'm going to do it like this? Instead of doing it like this, let me do it like this. Yes. Now, what's going to happen? Now, are we going to get the 2.5? Then up to 2.5 हमें जा बेटे. Yes. Now, are we going to get 2.5? Anyone? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. No, not yet. What's the reason? So this is the issue now. Okay, so we have the float. Value 3 is float, so it can save it can save 2.5. But thing is, now you can't perform, like if you are going to perform if you are going to perform division between two integers, then you are going to definitely get an integer. Integer දෙකක් බෙදුවාම අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම integer එකක් හම්බෙන්නේ. එයා float එකක් ගන්නෙ නැහැ. මෙයා float උනාට වැඩක් නැහැ. Now, no matter like whether this is a float, no, it's not going to be a matter since this is 2 integer values. So when you are like going to divide 2 integer values, right? 2 integer values, so they will be like divided, and this will be an integer division. So it's like the value 2 will be there. So what you can do, either before like dividing it, you can convert this into a float, right? So the conversion can be done like this. So this we are going to like this integer value, we are going to convert it to a float. We are going to convert this integer value to a float. So then it will work. One value is enough, right? So you can convert one value, then it would be enough, right? You can convert this either this one, or else you can convert this one. Like, I mean, division between two integers will give you an integer, but division between an integer and a float will give you a float value. So before dividing it, you have to convert it to this kind of a thing, right? Understood. So that's what you have to somehow you have to keep that thing in your mind, right? So this we discussed the multiplication operator, something obvious. And let me go to the remaining operators. So we have a few remaining operators as well. Modulus. Yes, the modulus. So I think that you are not familiar with this one, the modulus operator. Yes. Do you have any idea about this modulus operator? Anyone? The percentage mark, anyone? Can you like, you have any idea about this one? I mean, you may have. What it's going to do? Can you guess? The modulus. So it's going to get it like this, right? The modulus operator is going to do like it like this. Like we are going to like divide 5 from 2, right? So 2, like how we are going to do it? 2 into 2, 4, right? And like this is 1, right? So this is what you call the modulus. Right? So this is what you are going to call the modulus. Right? So this is what you call the modulus, right? ඔය ඉතුරු වෙන එකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ modulus එක කියලා. බලමු අපි. Right? So you can see modulus is 1, right? So we can check it like 11, 3. So what will be the modulus then here? දෙකක් එන්න ඕනේ නේද බලමු. ඒ තුන් වරක් 3 9යි දෙකක් ඉතුරුයි. Yes, right? So modulus is basically the, right? This is the modulus. ඉතුරු වෙන ගානට තමයි modulus කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? So that's it, and let me like show you some other operators as well. I'll get a new file. .1 operators. So let me int value. Right, so we can do something like this: value plus plus, right? Value plus plus, right? So this is basically equals to, right? This will be equals to like it's the same as value equal value plus 1. Value equal to value plus 1. So what we are going to like, we are going to add now. Here you know that the value is 10. So we are going to add 1 here. Add 1 to this. So 1 will be added. And this value, now as I mentioned, left and right side value, you know. Now this will be added and that value will be saved here. Right? So now what's going to happen? Now value plus plus 1 is equals this one. Value plus plus කියන එක සමාන වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මෙයාට. Value plus 1 plus plus equals to value equal value plus 1. So it will be basically 10 plus 1, and that value will be taken and that value will be assigned to the value again. තේරෙනවද? දැන් value එකේ තියෙන දැන්ට තියෙන value එක ගන්නවා. ඒ value එකට එකක් එකතු කරනවා. ඒ value එක දානවා value එකට. ඒතකොට replace වෙනවා ඒක. right? So earlier it was like 10, right? 10, and we are going to replace it with, now this value will be removed and it will be replaced with 11, right? Understood? So you can check it, like if you run this, you will see the output, right? Okay, now a small question, very straightforward. Okay, can someone like, what's the value printed here? What's the value that's going to print here? It would be printed here.
12.
Yes? Yes?
12.
Yes, exactly, 12, right? I mean, this will be done twice, right? So it will be done twice. So 12, right? It means what? Now, this becomes, the first time, this becomes 11, right? So the second time, what's going to happen? The second time,
11 will be added.
yes, exactly. So here then, now this is replaced to 11. Now this is not 10 anymore, it's 11. So 11 plus 11, sorry, 11 plus 1 will be added here now, right? So that's what's going to happen, right? Understood. So similarly, we have the, right? Similarly, we can do it like this as well, right? So the similar, the opposite, similar and opposite. So what's going to happen? One value will be deducted each time, right? One value will be deducted each time, right? It's 9. So if you're going to perform that again, so it will be 8 likewise. Right? Yes. Yeah, bitwise operation, assignment operations. Okay, right. So, I mean, with these things, right? With these things, so shall we like do a small example, right? So like this. Let me move to the next topic. Right. So I will show you something new here, right? So inputs. So I will save this as 3.0 inputs, right? So now we know how to like use the cout and print something, right? So that means how to give an output from this code, right? So we are giving an output from the code using the cout, right? So we are using cout to give an output, print something on that terminal, right? So we are going to print something in that terminal using this cout, right? So that's how we are going to do that, right? So then what we can do, uh, we can here in this code, I'm going to explain how to get the input to the code. Now here using cout, we are giving output from the code. We are giving an output from the code and it is printed. So that's what we are going to do. In this example, I'm going to show you how to take a user input, right? So you are going to, how to take a input from the user to the code, inside the code, right? Code එකේ ඇතුළට කොහොමද user එකෙන් input එකක් ගන්න කියලා තමයි මම මේකදී explain කරන්න යන්නේ, right? So how we are going to do that? Simple. I mean, so let me declare something called value. You can use any name, our name here in text, let's say, in text, and what I can do, C in, you know, C out. Right? Now the command is C in. So the arrows are also changed to the other side, as the opposite side. So here you can see C out. We are giving it to the out. So the arrows are in this side. For like it's directed to the left side, right? Here the arrows are directed to the right side. So C in. So we are taking an input, and that input should be taken. So this is the most important thing. Input should be taken into a variable. So that's the most important thing. So when you are taking an input, it should be taken into a variable. So let me take a input this to this variable. So then let me print this x value. Right. Let me do something like this as well. Value of x. Value of x. So now you can see it like this. You are going to see a string value of x, then the x value. Right. ඉස්සලාම value of x කියලා string එකක් වාට පේනවා, ඊට පස්සේ x value එක පේනවා. Right. So here we are going to take a C in. We are going to take something into the code. Now note that always if you are using C in, definitely you have to like get a value to a variable, get that value to a variable. Now what you can see here, you can see the cursor is blinking, right? Right. So you can see that the cursor is blinking. Right, the cursor is blinking. So that means it's waiting for us, right? So it is waiting for us to take a, I mean, give a value. So let me like enter 10 and enter. What's going to happen now? After entering x and like pressing enter, that 10 is passed to this variable x. අර අපි 10 කියන value එක ගහලා enter කළානේ. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ මේ scene එකෙන් මේ 10 කියන එක දානවා x ට. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට x ගේ value එක බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් value of x කියලා x value එක print කළාම 10 කියලා එනවා. Right, understood? Now here like it's not straightforward. Now the thing is when we are going to run this, you are not going to see anything. Like you are only seeing a blinking cursor. That's what you are going to see. A blinking cursor. That's what you are going to see. So what we can do, like here what you have to do, like enter the value, and it will be taken like the scene value, and it will be stored in x. Right. So 10 will be, we are going to give 10 here, right? So and that 10 will be saved in x, right? So that 10 is saved in x here. So what we can do here, so I can do it like this as well. I'll show you like this, let's say. Let me, now here we can include this kind of a C out, right? So then it will be like we can අපිට මෙතන C out එකක් දාලා පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්න පුළුවන් හරි මේකයි වෙන්නේ කියලා බලන්න. Enter a value for x. Right? So now what you can see it like this. Right? Enter a value for x. So like now the cursor is blinking here. Now the user know, okay, what you have to do, right? So now the user know what you have to do. Now we can print it. So we can enter it and it will be taken here, right? So similarly, let me like declare some other value as well. And what I can do, I can also give a message there. So I'm getting another variable, another value for the variable called y, right, from the keyboard. So then that will be printed here as well. So you can see now we are getting two values, right? 10, 20, right? So you can get values from the user like this. I mean, from the keyboard. Now thing here, you can see now the x and y are not declared in the code, right? That means x and y are not declared in the code. X के सह y के value එක අපි code එකේ declare කරලා නැහැ. ඒ වෙනුවට අපි මොකක්ද කරන්නේ? Instead of that, what we are going to do, we are going to take user inputs, right? We are going to take user input from the user and we are going to assign those values to x and y. කලින් අපි කළා වගේ x and y අපි manually දාන්නේ නැහැ මේකට, right? x සහ y values එක manually අපි දාන්නේ නැහැ. අපි user ගෙන් තමයි දැන් x y values ගන්න. Right? Understood? So now what I can do, right? So I can do something like this, let's say. I put the correct print කරලා බලමු. අපි මේක float විදිහට වෙනස් කරමු එතකොට ලේසි අපිට. The operator as well. Right? So we are going to like include several prints here, right? For the addition, multiplication, and division, and this one, the modulus. I discussed about the modulus. Yeah, the thing is now, yeah, we can do it for like float values, only integer values. We can do this for only integer values. So let me take only these four. Right, 7, 2, right? So you can see like value of x plus y, value of x minus 1, x into y, x divided by y. Understood now. Simple example, right? So this is where we can take user inputs and using Cin, right? So make sure that when you are going to get a user input from the user, right? When you are going to get a user input from the user, you have to do it like, I mean, you have to use a Cin, right? And then you have to get that like whatever the user is going to enter into a variable. A user enter කරන එක variable එකකට අපි දාගන්න ඕනේ. Like you can use the Cin command and you have to use this operator, right? 2 arrows and the variable that we are going to save those values given by the user. User දෙන values save කරගන්න ඕනේ variable එක තමයි ඊට පස්සේ දාන්න ඕනේ, right? Understood? Right? So any issues up to now, please ask. Right. So if you have any issues, please ask.
Sir, while we are doing this type of programming, we are starting with curly bracket and ending with curly bracket. Is it possible to put curly bracket between these two curly brackets?
You mean what? I can't exactly get that.
Yeah, I mean, we
Yeah,
are
there's a
starting
curly
a
bracket.
program with curly bracket
Okay.
and ending with curly bracket.
Yes.
Uh, is it okay? Is it okay to start another curly bracket between these two?
I mean, for what kind of a thing? You mean like this?
Another function? Yeah,
I like this. Okay, you mean two programs, is it?
yeah.
Yeah, the thing is now you
Program
can't.
within a program.
No, you can't do it like that. So in that case, what you have to do, like you have to define now. This is the main function. So we will discuss about this under function topic. This is called a function, right? So that means this is what you are going to like. This will be the main function and it will be executed. I mean, this will be definitely executed. Whatever the codes that we are going to include here, right, will be executed, right? So they will be definitely executed. So if you need another program or another sub function kind of a thing, that means this main function will definitely will be executed, right? So that's something going to happen. It will be definitely executed. And now this and I mean, whatever the things that we are going to include here will be definitely executed. And if you want something like another program kind of a thing or
Like a
another,
subprogram.
yeah, another sub function, then probably what you can do is you can I mean, you can define another function. Like it could be done like this. What you have to do, like you have defined another function, let's say void. Now these are data types. I will uh, talk about these later. So we can define your own function like this. It's like this, right? Understood. So this is your own function, right? So this is your own function, and this is called my function. I mean, that name you can give any name here, right? You can give your own name, my function, right? And then what we can do now, we can enter another code here. Uh, so let's say, for example, I mean, you can include something here you want, right? Uh, this is my function, right? Right. So this is, I mean, you can include something here, and you can also get values here, right? Uh, like let's say if you are going to take values here like this, you can do it like this, right? uh, and like let me print, right? Okay, so this is something separated, I mean separate code, right? We have separate code here. So this is called the my function. This is a separate function. I mean, this is a user made, user defined function, but the main function is not like that. That means for any code, whatever the code you are going to write in C or any other programming language, definitely there will be a main function, right? So whatever things we are going to include in the main function will definitely will be executed. That's something obvious. So that means, okay, now if you are going to run this again, right? If you are going to run this again, so let me run this again, right? So no change, right? I mean, දැන් මෙතන මොකද තියෙන්නේ මේ කෝඩ් එක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා විතරයි execute වෙලා තියෙන්නේ, right? Right? Understood. So then what you can do, right? I mean, if you want, you can call this function inside your main function wherever you want. ඔයාට ඕන තැනක මේ function එකට call කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So this is how we are going to call. Now I have defined a function, but it is not called. ඒක වැඩ කරේ නැහැ. මොකද අපි දැන් කලින් code එක run කරාම මේක වැඩ කරේ නැහැ. It's a separate thing. This is a user defined. This is defined by me. So we can call it wherever you want inside the main function. I mean, don't worry about that. If you are not understanding this, keep this away, right? So this is something we are going to discuss, I mean, probably in fifth week or sixth week. So don't worry about it now, right? For now, I want
Okay,
like,
thank you.
yeah. So now what's going to happen?
I understood something about.
Yeah. So anyway, now let's say here, if I'm going to like provide values like this, and also now can you see? Now enter value for A. That means what?
It's a my
Yeah. Now this is called, right? This is called now. Now this code is also executing now, right? Understood, right? So that code part is also executing, right? So you can, I mean, you can call it separate. You can define your own function and you can call it separately. Understood, right? So we'll talk about these functions, some advanced things about these functions, but like this is what you can do. You can use your own codes and you can create your own functions other than the main function, right? Okay, right. So that's something not. I just wanted to highlight that point, right? So I will remove that, right? Okay, so like this is how we are going to get a user input, right? So this is how we are going to get a user input. So the cout command is used to like print something. I mean, give an output to the user, right? So cout could be used to give an output to the user, and the cin could be used to get something from the user, right? Get inputs from the user. In order to get input from the user, we are using the cin, right? Cin. Understood. So cout we can give outputs and cin we can take inputs. Now thing is again here, if you are using cin, definitely like now you can see line by line execute like these are sequentially executed from top to bottom. So we have declared, so what happens first, two variables will be declared as x and y. X and y values they are declared now. Then what's going to happen, like yeah, so then what's going to happen, now this code is executed, right? Then අපි ගන්නවා මේක මම පරිදස් කිය මේ line by line තමයි මේවා execute වෙන්නේ. ඒතර ඉස්සලා variable දෙයක් හැදලා තියෙනවා x and y කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ print එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා cout enter value for x, right? So we have given a print enter value for x, and thereafter now you can see the cursor is blinking, right? So that means the compiler is waiting for us to enter value. අපි value එකක් enter කරන එක මෙයා මෙතන blink වෙවි ඉන්නවා. මෙයා මෙතන නැවතිලා බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා අපි value එකක් enter කරනවා. මේ කවුද ඒක කරන්නේ? මේ scene එකෙන් තමයි ඔය වැඩේ කරන්නේ. scene එක දැන් බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා අපි මොකක් හරි value එකක් එවනකම්. අපි මොකක් හරි value එකක් දාපු ගමන් මොකද වෙන්නේ? අපි හිතමු අපි 10 කියලා දැම්ම කියලා. scene එකෙන් මොකද කරන්නේ? ඒක යවනවා x ට. ඒක x ට ගිහිලා assign කරනවා. ඒක x ට assign කරනවා. Right? So this will be assigned to x. Right? So this will be assigned to x. Understood? So if you take x, I mean if we enter 10, so that now එම්පද දැන් ඒක enter කරපු ගාම මොකද මේ 10 ගිහලා x ට assign කරලා දැන් ඊළඟ line එකට යනවා. දැන් මෙතනට ගිහිල්ලා enter value for y කියලා එයා බලාගෙන ඉන්නේ අයියේ. මේ scene එක මොකක් හරි අපි value එකක් enter කරනවා බලාගෙන ඉන්නේ. Right? So it's waiting for us to enter a value, right? So if you enter 20, what's going to happen now? Right? So then it will be assigned, then the remaining part of the code will be executed. Now you have to keep this thing in mind. These are like critical points. Now these codes are executed line by line. That means it has a, like it's going from top to bottom, right? So it's going from top to bottom like this, right? It's going from top to bottom line by line. So always line by line are executed. So line by line is executed. Understood, right? So keep that thing in mind, right? So anyway, this is the use of the scene, right? Scene. Understood. Any issues within the scene and the variable types and everything that we discussed today? Okay, right. So if you have any questions, please ask.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Now, why can't give that value for value on program?
X and Y.
Yeah.
Inside the program.
Yeah.
Yes, you can do it. Then you can, I mean, no need to get the user inputs, right? So then you can like remove that user input thing and like you can simply give values like this. You can do it like that as well.
That one is another way, no?
Yeah, this is another way. But the thing is now, you will understand when you are like proceeding to the like I mean the future topics. So then sometimes we may need to like get user inputs, right? Like let's say yeah, so like somehow sometimes we have to get user inputs, right? Let's say, okay, if you are designing something to your like a student management system, right, where you are going to enter the student name and marks, and let's say that we want like, okay, that's something input by the teacher, and teacher is like going to input the student name, student id, and like marks for 3 subjects, let's say. And what we are going to do, uh, we are going to design we are going to design uh, kind of a system or a program where it takes the marks and calculate the average and calculate the grades of for that subject, let's say. Then ඒ වගේ දෙයකදී අපි හිතමු අපි ස්ටුඩන්ට් මැනේජ්මන්ට් මොකක් හරි සිස්ටම් එකක් හදනවා කියලා. ටීචර් කෙනෙක් එන්ටර් කරනවා නම ඉස්සල්ලාම. ඊට පස්සේ ටීචර් එන්ටර් කරනවා එයාගේ ID නම එක. ඊට පස්සේ එයා එන්ටර් කරනවා මාක්ස් 3ක් සබ්ජෙක්ට්ස් 3ක. අපිට කරන්න තියෙන්නේ මේ මාක්ස් 3 අරගෙන ඇවරේජ් එක හොයන්න පුළුවන් අපිට. right? ඊට පස්සේ මාක්ස් 3 ග්‍රේඩ් එක වෙනවා. A ද B ද C ද, right? So in that case, like we can't define those values inside the code since like teacher is entering the values, right? Teacher තමයි values enter කරන්නේ. So teacher enter කරද්දී teacher programming දන්නේ නැහැ කියලා අපි හිතමු. මොකද teacher කරන්න තියෙන්නේ අර command prompt එක open කරලා values ටික enter කරලා එතකොට කෙලින්ම calculate වෙලා එනවා. Right? So giving user inputs is like will be useful, I mean is useful for most of the applications, right? Understood. So we will see these things, I mean, in coming examples, then you will probably understand why we need to get user inputs. You may user inputs ගන්න එක වැදගත් වෙන්නේ ඇයි කියලා අපිට ඉස්සරහට අපි කරන examples වලදී සහ අපි ඉස්සරහට කතා කරන theory වලදී ඔයාලට ගොඩක්ම ඒක තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Yes, so yeah. The logical operators probably won't need this. Okay, right? So yes. So then yeah. So that's how we are going to take a user input, as I mentioned. Yes. So then let me like show you a small application, right? So why user input is required, right? 4.0. Let me, yes, average calculator. average calculator, right? Okay, so let me define a string as name first, string name. So you know, to a string we can take a name, right? Then let me define something called mark1, mark2, mark3, right? So then let me take an input scene and let me print a message first, like enter the mark1, right? So let me do it for all the three variables. Let me define these things as floats. Okay, so what's going to happen here? Like we have a name, we have 3 marks, right? And we are going to take 3 marks from the user. User game marks to enter කරලා ගන්නවා, right? Okay, so then I'm going to define a variable called average, right? So can someone tell me how to calculate the average of these 3 marks that the user is going to enter? Simple, right? What? Mark 1 plus mark 2 plus, yes, mark 3 divide by 3, right? Yes, good. So simple thing. And then what I can do, okay, I just got the marks from the user, right? අපි mark user ගේ marks ටික enter කරලා ගන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට මොකද කරන්න පුළුවන්? ඊට පස්සේ අපිට enter කරන්න පුළුවන් මෙහෙම cout මම enter කරනවා name එක, right? name කියලා මම මෙයාගේ පෙන්වන name එක අර අපි user ගෙන් ගත්තනේ ඉස්සල්ලාම name එක. අපි user ගෙන් name එක ගත්තේ නැහැ. මට මෙන්න මෙතන තව එකක් දාන්න මම දාන්නම් මෙතන. තව cout එකක්. enter the name. Enter the name of the student. අපි එක ගමු name කියන එකට. So we are going to like take 4 user interviews to user inputs to be exact. And the first one is the name. The name is taken, and the mark 1, mark 2, and the mark 3. So these are like given by the user. Made a user, right? So what we are going to do after getting all the 3 marks, we are going to define a variable called average. Abhi average variable that declare karna. So and that variable we are going to take the addition of the 3 marks and we are going to divide it by 3 and simply get the addition, right? So then I'm going to print the name here. Similarly, I am going to print the average. ළමයි average එකයි මම print කරනවා ළමයාට. Right? So that's the code, and I'm going to like include some other two lines. These are not necessary. මේක අවශ්‍ය නැහැ මේක ගැන හිතන්න බෑ මම කියන්නම් මොකද්ද මේකෙන් කරන්න කියලා. ඒක අපි කෝඩ් එකට අදාළ නැහැ. Right? So simply again, let's go from the beginning. So we have a simple code where we are going to have like 4 variables: name, mark 1, mark 2, and mark 3. So these are 4 variables. The first one is in string type. Other 3 are in float type. So first we are going to take input from the user, and that input will be saved in the name. ගන්න නම save කරගන්න name කියන variable එකේ. ඊට පස්සේ ගන්නවා mark 1 එක ඒක save කරගන්නවා mark 1 කියන එකේ. ඊළඟට ගන්න එක mark 2 එකේ save කරගන්නවා. ඊළඟට ගන්න එක mark 3 එකේ save කරගන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි average කියලා float type variable එකක් අරගෙන average එක ගන්නවා 3ෙන් බෙදලා 3 එකතු කරලා 3ෙන් බෙදනවා ඊට පස්සේ අපි print කරනවා 9යි average එකයි. So that's it, right? So now like we can run this and we are ending up with an error. What's the error expected? Here I have missed this terminator. මට මිස් වෙලා තියෙන semicolon එක. Right? Okay, now what's the thing here? Right? So I mean, okay. So this is the exe file that මම last week කිව්වා මේ වගේ ෆයිල් එකක් output එකක් විදිහට එනවා කියලා executable file එකක්. හරි. දැන් මට මේක පුළුවන් ඔයාලට දාගන්න desktop එක let's see. Right? Now what it means, like no need to use the code, right? Then my code is use කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. මොකද කරන්න පුළුවන්? What we can do? Just open it. Now this running like a software. අපි ඉස්සලා නම ගහනවා. ඊට පස්සේ mark එක ගහනවා. marks 3 ගහනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ආගේ නමයි average එකයි calculate වෙලා එනවා. Right? So this is a software kind of thing. අපි දැන් code එක ඕනේ නැහැ නේ අපිට. Now I mean දැන් code එක දන්නේ නැති කෙනෙකුට උනත් මේ software එකම නෙමෙයි ඉතින් පොඩි software එකක් කියන්න බෑ. Right? It's a simple thing, but anyway we can use it. Right? Understood? Now no need to have the code. Now you can take this in a pen drive and you can include it somewhere else and you can use it. Right? First you have like open the give the name. Right? Then the mark number 1. I mean, the thing is, I know that this is a simple thing, but still it can be used as a program. Now, we can modify this, right? So we can modify this to run it repeatedly. Make a, yes. No.
So, how we read the exe file?
Yeah, it's automatically created. I told you last time, right? So that means when you are going to like compile it, right? When you are going to compile it, that exe file is automatically created.
Okay.
Right?
It will be saved
in the same location. Yeah, it will be saved in the same location where your code is located. Code එක තියෙන තැනම තමයි ඒක save වෙන්නේ.
Okay, sir.
Right? So now the thing is, this is very interesting, right? So we have created software kind of a thing. Now what we have to do is like this is going to do is a simple thing. Now whatever things we are going to use a calculator, it will be, that thing will be done by this code simply. දැන් අපිට code එක ඕන නැහැ මේ software එක run කරලා අපිට make කරන්න පුළුවන්. Now in next weeks we will talk about decision making, we will talk about loops and other stuff. So what will happen, we can like simply modify this, right? We can simply modify this and we can run this again and again. That means, okay, the first student is over, then we are going to enter the next student details. So the average will be calculated from the next, for the next student. Then the third student, the details of the third student. Likewise, we can run it for several times, right? And also I will discuss about these things on next week. We can define this, like we can modify this to get the grade as well. So we can enter the mark and we can get the grade. A, B, C, F, B, like those kind of, we can get the grade as well, right? Okay, so with that I will conclude the session for today, right? Today what we discussed about the variables, the float types, integer type, string types, and the char type variables and how to use them. And we talk about the operators, right? The arithmetic operators. And also we talked about how to take inputs from the user using Cin, right? And we did a small application from that, right? So next week we will move on to the advanced topics like decision making, for loops, right? For the third week. And likewise we will move on to the further, some advanced concepts week by week eventually, right? Okay, so before concluding, so if you have any questions, the time. So if you have any question in your codes, and if you couldn't able to configure this environment, make a දාගන්න software එකක් දාගන්න code ගහගන්න බැරි වුණා නම්, ඒ වගේ මොනවා හරි issues තියෙනවා, මොකක් හරි issue එකක් තියෙනවා නම් කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. මොකක් හරි issue එකක් තියෙනවා නම් කියන්න. Anyone? Any issues faced in the codes? If you are getting any errors, or if you are like getting any issues, any errors, you can probably mention them. And you can get my contact number and my email from my email is also there, right? I send you a mail. So my contact number, you can get it from the batch rep. And if you have any issues regarding anything, I mean, any environment issues, any errors you are getting, anything to be like any, if you need any help in this code, right? So anything, you can call me or you can drop me messages, right? So I will respond, and you can drop me emails, right? So try to like, I mean, if you have any issues, please try to clarify them. Don't wait, like, don't keep the errors and do, otherwise you can't implement these codes on your own. ඔයාට තනියම codes ගහගන්න බැරි වෙයි. ඔයාට තනියම ඒවා implement කරගන්න බැරි වෙයි. මොනවාරි issues තියාගෙන ඒවා මොනවත් නොකිය ඒවා clarify කරගන්න නැතුව හිටියොත්. right? ඒකින්ද you have my contact number, you have my email. So if you have like any issues, please inform me. So I will respond with the necessary modifications. Okay, so if you have no issues, and if you have issues, as I mentioned, please contact me, and I will conclude it from here. Right. So thank you very much, and meet you on next time. So I will pass you the materials and stuff that I did today to your mail.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Bye.